not only the explosive kind of anger that comes out, but it's the kind of anger that stays inside and kind of eats away at you and creates resentment. So anger can show up in all kinds of ways.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's Susie and Otto Collins.
We're from susieandotto.com.
So glad you're here.
Yeah.
Love it that you're here.
Yeah. So tonight we would be talking about anger, inner agitation, and how to keep them from ruining your life and your relationships. Yeah. So
we've had a lot of interaction with people over the years who have been, coaching clients, people that we've talked with, personally in our personal lives, also people that are in workshops and classes that we've done, and just people we've come in contact with in life. And anger is a real issue for people.
Right. And today that we ran an article about Otto and his son. And if you haven't checked that out, and anger is an issue in your life, then check that out. It's on our blog, susieandotto.com. And, anger, what I'm coming to find out, and I mean, it's been years and years and years in the formulating, but it's not only the explosive kind, and you talked about exploding bicycle tires. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit, but it's not only the explosive kind of anger that comes out, but it's the kind of anger that stays inside and kind of eats away at you and creates resentment. So anger can show up in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, that's what I've found is that that anger manifests itself in a couple of different ways. And, you've got the full-blown kind of anger where you mentioned that there's this story that we tell sometimes about an exploding bicycle tire. And this exploding tire, we're full-grown adults, but yet we love to ride bicycles. So when you ride a bicycle, like we do, you got to pump up the tires. Well, there's been more than one occasion where you pump the tire up a little too much, maybe a lot too much, and the whole thing just explodes. The tire does, because you put too much air in it. Well, that's what happens a lot of times with our anger is we continue to have build up after build up after build up of the stories that life should be a certain way, and it's not. This person should do this, and they're not. This person should be that way, and they're not. If only my kids would act in a certain way. If only I could. We could go 1,000 different things if around this idea of if only. Because that's what happens in so many people's lives and so many people's relationships, is this whole thing of if only. It just gets so big, and then people don't know what to do with that. So anger is one of the ways that it manifests an
explosion a lot of times.
So an explosion is one way, but then there's other people, like my beloved Susie. And she is incredibly gifted at anger manifesting inside. So for a lot of people, anger is something that explodes because it just gets to be this big inferno inside. And then it's like it just explodes, and then people go, well, what happened to that nice man or that nice woman? Or what happened here?
Yeah.
And then there's these other people where life doesn't go the way they want. They have a story around something, and it continues to build, and it builds, and it builds. But instead of having like some kind of big explosion, like a bicycle tire might explode and stuff going everywhere, or stuff exploding like outwardly where everybody can see it, it gets like manifested inward.
Well, and
you shove it down.
And it could come out like sarcasm or, kind of snotty, use that word, but, kind of cutting remarks. It can be that. So it can show up in any way. But what you're talking about, no matter how it shows up, how this anger comes out, it's that you think things should have gone some other way than they did, that somebody should have acted in a certain way, that they didn't act that way, or they did act some way that
Right.
you think, oh no. So there is this thought somewhere that things should be different. And so let's go deeper into this.
So this thing that you're talking about, that something should be different. What happens is the reason that the anger is there, the reason that inner agitation is there, is that you somehow, at some level, think that your life and you, and more importantly, you, won't be okay, and you're not okay if whatever it is that you want to have happen doesn't happen. You somehow, erroneously think that if this person doesn't act in this way, you don't get the job, you don't get the promotion, you don't get the car you want, you don't get the man or the woman or the house or the trip to the beach, or whatever the story is that's going on, then you somehow think, I'm not okay.
Right.
At some certain level. And that's why we get angry. That's why we have an inner agitation.
So what doesn't work, and you've probably maybe tried this if you thought, oh, I don't want to get angry like that. It hurts people and it hurts myself and blah, blah, blah. Or I don't want to get, sarcastic, or whatever it is that you do to express this, get this out, or sublimate it. What doesn't work, that you probably figured out, is pretending like it's not there, pushing it down and saying, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. No, no, I'm not angry. That doesn't work. Yeah, you've probably figured that out, because it just makes it bigger. So what can you do, Otto?
Well, I want to go a little deeper still yet with what you're talking about. So whether you're talking about somebody that grits their teeth and says it's okay, it's not a problem,
Put a smiley face on.
or you put a smiley face on, or if you're somebody where you have it within your mind that allowing your anger to explode is normal and it's okay. Well, here's the thing. Both of those things, or all of the million different permutations of those things, it's a short-term strategy that you're trying to temporarily make yourself feel better from the thing that you think you need in order to feel better, in order to be better, instead of, so that your life can be okay, and most importantly, so that you can be okay. So that is so huge when you realize that's all that's going on. That's it.
We're just trying to feel better.
Everything that we do is a strategy that we're attempting, we're trying, we're using And most of the time, we're not even aware of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so anger and even the inner agitation that we continue to allow to go on, it's a strategy that never works.
What does work then?
Here's what does work. When something comes up within you that you notice, oh, I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling lack here. I'm feeling upset because you name the thing. And you've got this idea that this thing that you want to happen, this person that you want to be different somehow, just being able to see that whatever's going on is just whatever's going on. And to really see that you're going to be guided from your wisdom that's always flowing through you about what you can do or what you should do, or even if there's anything to do about making any changes in your world or helping someone to be different if that's something they truly want and not something that's coming from your own insecurities and your own desire to feel better. But what you can do, oddly enough, is do nothing. Because if you do nothing, what's going to happen? You're going to feel whatever it is you're going to feel, and then it's going to essentially pass through you instead of getting stuck there, because that's where the anger gets explosive. That's where the anger and the inner agitation gets, crammed down, stuffed down, because you don't just simply acknowledge, oh, I wanted something to be different and it's not, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think for me, that's what happens is acknowledging, oh, I'm feeling such and such, and just acknowledging it and seeing it and making it okay. It'll pass. The feeling will pass, and I'm okay. Like you said, I'm okay. Whether I think, well, yeah, did I want that other thing to happen? Sure. But, I'm okay if it didn't. And the important thing is to know that we humans have all emotions. All emotions are just coming up to show us what thoughts that are running through our heads and we're believing. And when we don't really, when we see, oh, well, maybe I can believe something else here. I mean, maybe there's another possibility to this. Then it's, then there is kind of a peacefulness that can happen inside you. That inner agitation that something should be different kind of calms down. I mean, I've seen it, you've seen it in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you just see that by not trying to, we've used the example quite a few times in our work over the years, is like a beach ball, that you're in a pool or you're in a lake or you're in the ocean and you've got this beach ball and you're trying to push it down, push it down, push it down. It's gonna come up. A lot of times, all of that stuff that you're trying to push down, that you're afraid to look at, afraid to acknowledge, afraid to just simply allow it to be, it's going to come up. And I guess the what we would really want you to have as a takeaway is that for anger and your inner agitation to really fade away and not be a problem in your world is just simply noticing what's going on and not attaching to it, not clinging to it, not making it bigger, not making it wrong, not trying to change it. But when you just see, oh, that's what I wanted, and I didn't get that, and it's okay. This person's different from me. Oh, that's okay. And to really see at a very deep, fundamental level that just because somebody else is different from you, or they want different things from you, or life just in the moment isn't working out how you've dreamed up that it should work out, it doesn't mean that your life is this horrible mess, or that life isn't good or can't be good. But what it does mean is that when you just allow, as you were talking about, Susie, all the emotions, all that stuff to just flow through you, that inner peace you were just talking about, I love that. That is where the beauty comes from in life, is that inner peace, that inner joy.
Just noticing the moment of that, because sometimes it's really only a moment, but noticing it, and then that can get even bigger. And I think that we should say just a brief thing about what to do when you're with somebody who is explosive or is exploding. Just briefly, what can be done here, or what do you do?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, if somebody's really exploding with anger and it's out of control, number one, always do whatever you could do, can do, should do, feel like is appropriate to do to protect yourself physically and emotionally. Nobody ever, there's never a reason to put up with any kind of physical or emotional abuse. So that is number one. Number two, don't try to fix them or change them.
Yeah, or take it personally.
Because it's not about you.
It is about what's happening inside them that they're believing. And you've already probably seen, if you're in this situation, that your reaction then feeds into that and even makes it bigger and bigger. So the more you can do to just see that this isn't about me and my reaction is important here. I don't have to stay in the same room. We can talk later when things have cooled down. But like Otto said, the big thing is, if you are with an explosive partner, making sure that you are safe.
And the other thing is starting to notice the difference between how you can actually shift and change the situation when you first of all see and you really get that it's not your job or your responsibility to change them. But the difference is, what really is so huge is, instead of trying to react and to go back and, so if somebody's attacking you or it feels that way, don't attack them back. Because
it feels natural to do that.
It feels natural. It sure does. Mm-hmm. But there's a huge difference, and just try this on for just a moment. The difference between what might happen in a situation like that, if you saw it as, oh my goodness, they are really having a tough moment right now, versus they're attacking me and I don't deserve it. There's a huge difference. The same exact thing might be going on, but how you see it totally shifts everything. at least for you. They may not see it in the moment, but if you don't react, you don't, get, all, if your anger doesn't start getting out of control, their anger is going to dissipate, unless this is a pattern and this is a real problem that they're unwilling to take a look at. And then you've got other choices to make.
Right. And if you'd like to, find out more on our blog article today that Otto wrote, he talks about how he dealt with this with his son who had an explosive anger.
And that's just one way of dealing
and
with it.
It was just, but it's if they want more, it's good. And we want to hear what you'd like us to talk about. And any questions or any comments about what we've talked about here, we'd love to see them. A big wave to Yvette. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today.
And also, if there's anything going on in your world, whether it's anger or anything else, and you think you could benefit from having a conversation with one of us, reach out to us.